Hey friends, Susan Gregory here, your life coach with Faith-Driven Life. And first, I want to thank you so much for attending the live teaching that I presented recently. And the purpose of this teaching here is all about the Q&As, the questions that were asked. Literally, we had thousands of people on those broadcasts, but I wasn't able to answer all of the questions. So I went through and I got all the questions. We had over 200 of them. I sorted them out, filtered them, and put them in categories, and I'm going to try to go through all of those very quickly. And so you've got what you need to get started on the Daniel fast. So first of all, keep in mind, this is a spiritual experience. And I'm not going to go a lot into detail about my passion about the fast and why I see so many people making mistakes, but it comes down to this. The Daniel fast is a spiritual experience. Fasting is all about restricting food for a spiritual purpose. Now, what has happened, and this is a lot of what I covered on the Live in the Spirit teaching, is that so many people get so focused on the food that they continue to be in this carnal, fleshly attitude, and they miss out on the amazing things that we have available to us because of God and that we are members of the kingdom of God. So first, I'm going to go through and answer the questions. Obviously, we do need to be concerned about food, and so you're going to be changing much of what you're going to be eating. So let's just go over it very quickly. I'm not going to cover all the things that I covered on the broadcast, but I am going to go through the questions. First of all, just keep in mind, the Daniel fast is 100% plant-based. So when you are choosing foods, if it doesn't come from the earth as a plant, if it wasn't grown from seed, or we can have minerals like you can have salt and things like that. But if it doesn't come from seed, then it is not allowed on the Daniel fast. So there's no fish, there are no eggs, there is no cow's milk or goat's milk or anything like that, or those are all things that come from animals. So the Daniel fast is 100% plant-based. So you can have fruits and vegetables. When you are selecting the foods, say, okay, is it a fruit? Yes, then it's allowed. Is it a vegetable? Yes, then it's allowed. All fruits and vegetables are allowed on the Daniel fast with a few very, very minor restrictions, and those have to do with sweeteners. So we'll be going a little more into that. Also, whole grains. Those are grains that are in the form that God created them. They haven't been taken apart by food manufacturers where all of the good, nutritious stuff has been taken out and only the starch is left. So, for instance, we look at rice. White rice is not allowed on the Daniel fast because it is not a whole grain. So you want to make sure you're eating wild rice or brown rice. Everything is whole grains. Now, you can have foods that are made with whole grains. For instance, a lot of people asked about pasta. Can I have pasta on the Daniel fast? You want to look and see, is it made of whole grains? And I'm going to go into a little more about that in a few minutes. Also, healthy oils. So I encourage people to use olive oil. A lot of people like to use coconut oil, and so that is also great. Now, there's a funny little thing about coconut oil because solid fats are not allowed on the Daniel fast, for instance, like Crisco or things like that, not allowed on the Daniel fast. However, coconut oil has a very, very low melt point, or you live in an area where it is already liquid. It's called an oil, even though it's a little more solid. And so it is allowed. This is one of the funny little fine lines that's on the Daniel fast, but coconut oil would be allowed. No sweeteners at all. No honey, no agave nectar, no stevia, no date sugar, no date honey. That's that kind that a lot of people make at home. They make their own sweeteners and they say, oh, well, I can have that. No, it's still a sweetener. So no sweeteners on the Daniel fast. So these are important restrictions, because unless you've got the restrictions, you don't have anything to bump up against. As long as you're figuring out ways that you can get around the restrictions, you're not growing. You're not making choices. You're just making, kind of funny little changes, but you're not getting the great impact that is available to you in the fasting experience. So we look at the issues, again, the issues with food. Prepared foods. And those are those foods that food manufacturers have made. Many of those are just fine. For instance, you may want to be making soups, and so you can get boxes or cans of vegetable broth. You can have cream of wheat cereal. You can have pasta that is made of whole grains. The big deal about prepared foods is you want to read the label. Now, on the label, there are 2 portions on that label that you want to be concerned about. The first portion, it's usually the largest portion, and that's the nutritional value of the food. Law requires that manufacturers put the nutritional value of food on that label. So you can look at that, but that's not where you find the information of whether the food is going to be restricted or not. That all comes with the list of ingredients. Okay, so there's the nutritional part of the food label, and then there is the list of ingredients. So you want to look at the list of ingredients, and if all of those ingredients are okay, meaning they comply with the Daniel Fast guidelines, there's no sweeteners, there's no man-made chemicals, there's no animal products or anything like that, then that would be okay. Now, let me just say a couple little things about some naturally derived preservatives, like ascorbic acid or xanthan gum, which is a bit of a thickener that is often used in some salad dressings and things like those. Those are naturally derived substances. Those are allowed. And I know this may seem a little confusing, but just get in there and start reading the labels, and try to be as close to the dirt, as we say, as close to the dirt as possible, so that you're eating as many fresh or frozen vegetables as you can, and things where you don't have to rely on a lot of packaged foods. The food manufacturers are getting much better about providing foods that are whole foods, good, clean eating, clean foods that are free of chemicals, free of sweeteners, because the public is demanding that. So the food manufacturers are responding. So again, get into the habit of reading the food labels. Now, this is something that is really important. Only water on the Daniel fast. Only water. Hear that? Only water. So, no coffee, no tea, no alcohol, and this is probably one of the most commonly asked questions that we receive, and that is, why can't we have tea on the Daniel fast? We're making it with natural herbs, and we're just adding water, so why isn't that okay? The reason it's not okay is because it's not water, it's tea. It's as simple as that. Don't complicate it. Like I had someone ask, well, you mean it would be okay for me to have herbs as long as the water isn't boiled? No, that's not what it's about. Tea is not allowed on the Daniel fast. The only beverage allowed on the Daniel fast is water. So, and let me just cover a couple tiny little details about that in just a minute. So, there is no juice as a beverage. Now, you can have smoothies because those are considered liquid meals. So a smoothie has some protein in it. It has the things that you want for a meal. It may have fruit, fruit and nuts, and maybe some vegan protein powder, and you can even have juice or plant-based milk in a smoothie, and that would be okay, but that's not considered a beverage, okay? So when you think of the meal, you're planning your meal, and you have your main entree, and you maybe have some sides, and then you've got your beverage. What is that beverage? If it's juice, if it's any kind of like plant-based milk, if it's anything but water, it's not allowed. So no plant-based milk as a beverage, no infused fruit or vegetable water as a beverage. That's when things cross over, that's not only really water. And it's only water, just water. Now, is it okay to add like a slice of lemon to your water? Yes. And the reason is, again, it's this fine line, and you don't have to get, go too crazy about this, but can you look at that glass or that cup that you're drinking, and can you truthfully in your heart call it water? So that it's just water. So if you've got a slice of lemon or a wedge of lemon in a glass of water, it's still water. So then it's okay. But as soon as you start adding herbs or fruits, things to it, that it's changing it over so it becomes kind of like an infused water or flavored water, then you've crossed the line. So just water. Now, can you have sparkling water? Sparkling water is fine because it's just water. It's okay that it's sparkling water. You want to make sure, again, that there's no chemicals or any sweeteners in it. But I'd really encourage you to stick with just water. Just keep it simple. Don't have a hard, make it a bigger deal than it needs to be. I will tell you, this is probably one of the most difficult parts of the fast that people deal with, is drinking only water. Water is really, really good for you. So drink water. Okay, so let me give you a few more details about the foods and the things that are allowed to consume on the Daniel fast. Vitamins are allowed. So if you have, you're taking your vitamin C or whatever, vitamin D, whatever those are fine. It's best to find those that are free of chemicals and sweeteners and any kind of, whatever. But, go ahead and continue to take your vitamins. Medications are allowed. So medication is allowed on the Daniel fast. You never want to do anything that is going to cause harm to your body during your fast. So take good care of yourself. Continue to follow the advice of your earthly physician. Pray to your heavenly physician. But if you are taking medication, then make sure you continue to do that. Now, let me just give you one little issue here, and that is the Daniel fast is a very, very healthy way to eat. It is, in a way, it's a type of a natural cleanse, a natural detox. So keep an eye on your medication. If you've got taking a type of medication, for instance, like if you have type 2 diabetes and you're taking certain medication to keep your blood sugar in balance, you want to make sure that you're checking in with your blood sugar and only taking as much as you needed, because there are many, many people that are able to totally eliminate or drastically reduce the amount of medication they're taking for type 2 diabetes when they're on the Daniel fast. I'm not a health professional. And so you need to rely on the people in your life who are those professionals and the advice that they're giving you. And you want to be wise. Just be wise. Okay, you can use vegan protein powder. That would be allowed. Again, you want to make sure that there's no sweeteners, no chemicals in it. Whole grain cereals are allowed. So like muesli and oatmeal and any of those kinds of even shredded wheat, because it's only, when you read the label, it's just wheat. It's whole grain wheat. Shredded wheat is whole grain wheat. So then how do you consume those things? You've got either hot or cold cereal prepared. You put the milk on it because you're adding it to a recipe. It's no longer a beverage. You're adding it to the recipe or to a dish. And then go ahead and add some fruit, fresh fruit to it, or even frozen fruit or whatever to it. Also, you can add nuts and dried fruits. You can also have nut butters like peanut butter or almond butter. Again, read the label. Make sure that the ingredients are all consistent. Dried fruit is great. You can add these to your smoothies or add it to your cereal, add it to salads. So you can have raisins or dates or different kinds of dried fruit. Now, here's a funny little thing. A lot of people think that, okay, I'm going to add cranberries to my salad. Did you read the label? because you will find that cranberries have added sugar to them. The manufacturer has added sugar to the cranberries because cranberries are very, very tart. They're unlike raisins that have a lot of natural sugar. So when you look at a package of raisins and you look at the ingredients, the only thing on that list of ingredients are raisins. If you look at a package of cranberries, you will find that there are the cranberries and sugar of some kind of sweetener. So it's really important. But go ahead, enjoy those foods. It's fine, and you can add. You're adding a little bit of sweetness or some flavor to your oatmeal, and you can have cinnamon or things like that. That's fine, but keep it simple. Just keep it very simple. Also, as far as salad dressing, it was a question that someone asked, what do you use for salad dressing? I think one of the best things to do is make your own, using a little bit of oil and vinegar or oil and lemon juice. That's my favorite, is using olive oil with lemon juice and a little bit of Dijon mustard. And again, even when you're using a product like Dijon mustard, you want to read the label and make sure about the ingredients and that there's no sugar in it. And those are available now. So, and then, I just whip it up, add some little bit of salt and pepper to it and whisk it up. And it's a very inexpensive, very, very flavorful salad dressing. Now, if you want bottled salad dressing already prepared, again, you want to make sure that they're 100% plant-based. So something like ranch dressing, which has animal, milk products in it, that would not be allowed. But one of the favorite is Paul Newman's oil and vinegar dressing. So remember, it's that specific one, oil and vinegar dressing. Again, continue to read the labels and looking at those list of ingredients, and there are more and more that would be able to comply to the Daniel fast. So you also want to be aware of health issues that you may have. So special needs. If you've got some kind of a health issue, then keep that in mind, and you may need to make some adjustments, so that your body is, you're keeping your body in safe zones, but you can still fast. I don't know of any medical person that says that you are required to drink coffee, or you're required to eat sugary foods, or that you're, required to, have most of the foods that are that are not allowed on the Daniel fast. Now, where that may change is, let's say you're taking a medication and the medication says take with milk. Well, then, take it with milk. Have a little bit of milk that meets that particular issue. That doesn't mean it says, oh, well, I can drink milk because, I've got this special need, so I get to drink all the milk I want. No, take the amount that is needed and stay within the other guidelines. So if you've got a special need, be wise. Do what is important to meet those needs. If you are a pregnant or nursing mother, your body is creating tons of, needs a lot of calories. You are not only nourishing your own body, but you are nourishing another life. So, again, the Daniel fast is very, very healthy. There are lots of, there's protein in plant-based eating, but again, for you to be healthy and for you to make sure you're providing what your child needs, then, you may want to add some chicken or some fish. Stay within the guidelines, but, have adequate protein to meet your needs. And now many people stick with the plant-based diet, but they're doing it with wisdom. They're making sure that they're eating beans and rice, which have all the amino acids to form complete proteins. They're using quinoa. They're having, dark green leafy vegetables. Those are all very high in protein. So just be wise. Many people use the Daniel fast while they are pregnant or nursing with amazing results. And because, again, our bodies want the health, and our American diet, particularly and our Western diet, it's got so much junk in it. And so when we are giving our body, this amazing body that God created, and we're feeding it, we're nourishing it with the foods He created, that's a good thing, and our bodies like it. Also, if you exercise, it's fine to exercise during the Daniel fast. You won't run into problems unless you are an extreme athlete, or you put out a lot of energy. Again, you can use plant-based protein powders. You can ramp up and eat more plant-based proteins. Or if you are very, very active, then you might want to have a serving of fish, let's say, for one of your meals or something like that. So again, it doesn't mean if you're one who does a 15-minute workout, that you've got plenty of protein on a wise Daniel fast, a balanced Daniel fast eating plan. But if you're an extreme athlete and you're putting out a lot of energy, you may want to add some additional protein. By the way, I really do encourage you to get my book about the Daniel fast. All of this is covered in even more, but we really go into a lot of details about food, and so I encourage you to get that too. So type 2 diabetes. If that is a health matter, then again, use wisdom, stick with what your doctor has advised you. But like I say, I've talked personally to people I know, like people that go to my church, or I've talked with people in my circles, or I hear from people that have type 2 diabetes and are absolutely shocked at how well they do on the Daniel fast. So, but again, make sure you're monitoring your blood sugar and you're using wisdom and staying healthy. So any kind of health issue you have, make the necessary adjustments. But it doesn't mean that you can't fast. You absolutely can fast. It's just there are some, you won't be restricting all of the foods. There are some that you will add in appropriate amounts and prepared in appropriate ways. So that's all fine. Okay, so the fast itself. First of all, you want to prepare for your fast. You've got plenty of, if you're listening to this, then it's before the holiday, before Christmas, you've got plenty of time. Even if it's before New Year's Day, you've got plenty of time to start preparing for your fast. So remember, we are made of 3 parts. We are a spirit, we have a soul, and we live in a body. So the first thing you want to make sure is that you are preparing your body. If you use caffeine, or if you drink a lot of sugary beverages, or if you're not real clean in your eating style, start getting that way. But the big one is start tapering off caffeine. And that can be colas, that can be tea, that can be any kind of chocolates, and that can be any kind of jolt types of beverages. Those energy drinks is what I was trying to think of, and certainly coffee, because your body is addicted to that. Even people who drink only 1 cup of coffee, our bodies can get addicted. So what happens when you immediately stop drinking coffee or drinking caffeinated beverages or eating high sugar or caffeinated foods that have a lot of caffeine in them? Your body will rebel. It will, and not only will it you'll be very, very tired, but you can have screaming headaches, the level of migraines. You can have real lethargy, all kinds of things. You can have leg cramps, back cramps. So start in plenty of time, at least a week before the fast begins, before you start on your fast, preparing your body. Start drinking more water. Start flushing your body of the chemicals that are in it, and start tapering off the caffeinated beverage. So start by having the regular caffeinated beverage, but add some decaf into it, or just don't drink as much, but just taper off, so that when you first start your fast, that you are free of that. Your body is no longer screaming, and this is really important, because you do not want to be incapacitated because you haven't prepared for the fast. You also want to prepare your soul. What are those? Your soul are your emotions, your intellect, your will. What decisions will you be making during your fast? What are the study materials you'll be using? And then spirit. Think about entering into quiet time, even now, with God about the fast, asking Him to show you things as you prepare for the fast. And be prepared to take some notes, and be prepared to listen quietly, and as you're going through these days, as you're preparing for the fast, getting ready for it, the Lord may bring some things up. It's a very powerful experience. We're focusing on Him. You want to think about your purpose, the purpose of your fast. So are you praying for financial matters? Are you praying for loved ones? Are you do you want to learn how to pray better? Or what is the purpose of your fast? So you want to have a defined purpose of why you're fasting, because that will inform what you're praying about. That will inform what you'll choose to study. Now, can you have more than one purpose? Yes. What you don't want to do is have so many that you stay on the surface and you're never able to go deep with any of them. So I'd really encourage you to have no more than about 3, because you want to go deep. There's great, powerful things that you can study in God's Word, and so you may have a primary one and then maybe a couple others, or you may have a primary one, and at the same time during your committing during your fast, that you'll be praying for family members or friends or a loved one, whatever. And so it's okay to have more than one purpose, but for you to be successful, then you want to be able to make sure that you're able to go deep. When is the fast? Most people will begin the Daniel fast at sunrise on January 7th, Sunday, January 7th, and then conclude the fast on Saturday at sunset, January 27th. Now, there is nothing firm about that. You don't have to do it. If you've got, there could be all kinds of reasons. Either your church is doing it on different dates, you're choosing to do it on a different date, whatever it is. There's nothing hardcore about that. The fast that I'm leading, we're doing those dates, but even then, you don't have to stick with that. Even if you join us on the Live in the Spirit fast, you're going to get all the materials and everything, so you can use them when you want. The fast, it's a 24-hour matter. There's no specific times when to eat and when not to eat. There's no specific amounts of how much you can eat, although keep in mind that you're fasting. How many days? Most people use the Daniel fast for 21 days. But if you're saying, no, I can only do a 10-day Daniel fast, I wouldn't do it for any fewer than 7 days. You can do it for as many as 40. Sometimes people do that. I've done it for as many as 50 days. So it's what are you coming to the Lord about? What's going on in your life? Just figure out what is right for you and do that in cooperation with the Lord. Now, some people ask, well, Susan, why don't we just start on the 1st of January? Well, mainly because a lot of times there's family around there. It's still part of the holiday season, and people are busy, and we don't want to have a lot of distractions. In fact, we want to have as few distractions as possible when we fast. We want to quiet ourselves, and so that's why we start. It's always the first, practically always the first Sunday in January after the first of the year. Okay, so anyway, so we're starting, the fast I'm leading starts on the 7th, and most people are starting on the 7th. That is not a requirement. That is just when we've decided to do it. And so there's that. So the Live in the Spirit, it is a fast that I am leading. It has so many benefits to it, and so many things that will help you on your fast. If you're interested, if you haven't already joined us, you can go to daniel-fast.com/live. Okay, daniel-fast.com/live. Now, some questions that people asked about that. Some people, if you recall when we did the live calls, we had originally put a price tag of $97 on it, but so many people said, this isn't the right time. I want to be able to do it, but I just can't afford it this time. And so we decided to slash the price. So it's $21 per person to do this, or for a household to do it. This is something, it isn't something you're buying this to share with all your friends or anything like that. You join it, and it's, but if it's a couple doing the Daniel fast, then, you don't need to buy two. Now, I've had, praise God, I had so many people say, Susan, I know how hard you work at this. I want to pay you the full $97. Or people say, Susan, you give so much, I want to give a donation. Which, God bless you, thank you. I love you for that confidence that you put in me, that honor, that encouragement you give me. But our work at Faith Driven Life, we are what is called a marketplace ministry. And what that means is that we don't accept donations. I mean, we do get donations, but we're not a 501c3 where you're going to get a tax-deductible receipt for donations. And even when you purchase products through a ministry that is a 501c3, you still don't get a tax-deductible donation for the items. It's only when it's money given that isn't attached to anything that you receive that is as far as the government is concerned, considered a legal donation. But okay, back to the a marketplace ministry is supported by the products that we offer people, the helpful products, like a bookstore, a Christian bookstore is a marketplace ministry. And Faith Driven Life is a marketplace ministry. I so want people to be able to enter into this experience for a transformation in their faith. It's something that is going to change their lives. And that's why I've created this study. And so there's just packed with different pieces of information, different tools, things that will help you. Again, go to daniel-fast.com/live. Now, this is, and I don't want to get too deep into this, but there's a lot of people that are saying, gosh, I'm not going to spend $21. I can just look on the internet, or I can just do this, which you can. But here it's like most of us are asking big things from God. And yet we're not willing to invest in ourselves so we can draw nearer to Him, so we can learn more about this, so that we can have the support systems and the information and the structure that gives the consistency, and the tools and the positive coaching, all of those things. So, like if you say, okay, well, I want to become a tennis star, but so how do I best do that? Well, I'm not going to pay a coach or anybody. I'm just going to go out there and start hitting balls, and I don't even have to buy any equipment. I'm just going to go out there and that doesn't make sense. But people do that in their spiritual lives all the time. If you aren't investing in yourself to get stronger spiritually, to learn more about this amazing life we can have in the kingdom, you're gonna have those kinds of results. If if you want change in your life, you need to be willing to change. If you want your life to be better, then you need to get better. But so many people are just waiting for it to happen to them. So this course is designed to give you what you need for a successful fasting experience, and a whole lot more. It's going deep with these concepts. It's going deep with your faith-driven life. And so I would love to have you part of it. As far as the cost of the program, it's always going to be $21. This particular thing, it's not, the price is not going to go up. What does change are the bonuses, and pretty soon we won't be offering any bonuses, just the program. So the early bird people, the people that are buying the program before and during this period of time, get to have the bonuses that we offer. And so depending on what program you're part of, you'll know which bonuses were available to you. So okay, so that's that. I hope this has been helpful to you. Again, daniel-fast.com/live or live, and we are starting the fast on January 7th through the 27th. The first lesson will be available on the 23rd of December. That doesn't mean you need to do anything with it. It's just, it will be available. That's when it's first published, and that will help you start realizing that it's that's the Christmas weekend, lots going on, that there's a lot of people that want to get started, and it's all about preparing the heart. Is when you purchase the lessons, you've got them, they're yours. You can use them anytime you want in subsequent years or whatever. You can continue to refer back to them. So I hope this has been helpful, and that it's answered the questions that you have about the Daniel fast. Okay, blessings to you, and we will meet again. Okay, over now. Bye for now.